Okay, hello everybody. If you've noticed, we decided to change the name of our of our ghost storytelling. We thought "Don't Forget the Sage" is a more exciting name than Fireside Chats. Although the Fireside Chats were an awesome idea that we should bring back, but
for sure. And I still maintain that when we're like interacting in person, that we should actually be around a fire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When we're in person, it can be like Fireside Sage.
Yeah. We're gonna make up a bunch of different names because we'll probably be under the influence of something as well. So also we are trying it without videos today to see if we do not get a lag this time. And also because I am at the edge of the hurricane, so our weather is unpredictable right now, which means my internet, which is always unpredictable, is even more unpredictable now. So
and it's Mercury retrograde.
And it's Mercury retrograde. It's just craziness all around. So
all kinds of stuff stacked against each other, but damn it, we're going forward anyway.
Yes, we are. So I think that so it's kind of crazy. Myri and I both had pretty interesting paranormal experiences this week.
Yeah.
And I haven't, well, I guess I had one of those similar to it like earlier this year, but it's been a while since I've had an experience like that. But I think, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
it's so bizarre though, because I'm kind of into astrology, but I really only pay attention to the major events. So I'd be interested to know if like the veil is thinner right now or something, because
it's definitely, this is about the time I can feel the veil thinning.
Starting to thin. Okay. Well, I wonder too, because I don't know if it's related, but I've kind of been getting into a fall mood too, even though it's definitely still summer weather around here.
Yeah.
But it was so weird. And I actually don't it might just be in my head, but this happened on the day. So I've been working toward my Reiki certifications, and this actually happened the night that I completed my Reiki master teacher practitioner certification. I know. So it was like, did it like enhance my sensitivity somehow, or like, I don't know, but it was so freaky. My wife and I had just gotten back from a camping trip up north, and so I, hadn't spent any time in my room or at my altar, and so after we were back, I decided to spend some time in my room, and it was weird right off the bat, which is strange to me too. Like, I lit my sage because I always like to smudge. Don't forget the sage; it's very important.
See?
And yeah, words of wisdom. And it started sparking, and that's the first time that it had happened to me. And when I say that it was sparking, I don't mean that it was like, like little kind of fizzy, sparks.
Right.
It was like spitting sparks. Like one landed in my hair, and I had to like smack it out. One like burned my wrist. One actually left a smolder mark, like a black mark on my altar cloth, and that like burnt a little hole in it. And so it was spitting legitimate sparks. And like when it first started,
crazy.
I know, right? And I was like, I tried Googling it, but apparently there aren't a whole lot of people in the world who do this sort of thing.
I Googled it too, although I've taken a class on like candle divination and whatnot, and I've read on it. And if you're doing candle divination, if you see sparks, that usually means that there's like a negative presence around you.
Okay.
But what's weird is I couldn't find it online, but I have notes on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it really makes sense though that it would be indicative of a negative, a negative spirit around, because I mean, I later began to feel something really intense, but like when it first started, I don't know, this sparking, like I kind of brushed it off at first because I thought, I don't know, I tend to be kind of like a logically minded person. I'm like, well, maybe there was like an air pocket in the bundle or something. I don't know. But it kept doing it. Like I was walking around my room, and I was like, I always fan with just a single hawk feather that I have. And so it's not like an intense breeze that I'm putting on it. And I ended up having to actually put out my sage, because when I was like fanning it, it started spitting sparks so bad that like there were sparks landing on my rug. I had to like stamp them out with my feet. I like hurt my feet because I had bare feet at the time. I know, but like I didn't want it to light my house on fire. So I'm like, okay, wow, all right, I guess I have a defective, you know, smoke stick. And I went and I put it out, even though it's like this is the one that I've been burning like for a while. So it's not like I just lit this new one or anything.
Right.
So anyway, I still decided to just kind of like cut my losses and brush it off or whatever. And I put out the sage and I decided to light my sweetgrass, because typically anytime I do like an ancestral meditation or anything in my ancestral altar, I'll light sweetgrass, and I'll, you know, kind of prepare to interact with my spirit guide.
Which sweetgrass does help connect with like the spirit world.
Right, exactly. And you know, usually I have experiences that I find personally profound, but they're not like objectively, like no one else would come in and see something and be like, wow, it's weird in here. But like the other night, yeah, like, so I don't know if this is just my experience with using sweetgrass, but typically anytime I burn it, it's like the flame is really brief. It puts itself out automatically. And it like, the smoke is pretty minimal compared to the sage anyway. Like usually in my experience, sage puts out a lot more smoke. But the other night, this same night when I lit the sage grass, it like ignited. It was like a fireball. And I like couldn't blow it out. It took me forever to blow it out. And by the time I finally got the flame extinguished, it was putting off so much smoke that like it looked like my room was full of fog. It was so weird. Like I've never had my sweetgrass put out that much smoke before. I've never had it ignite like that. And so at this point I thought, okay, well, this is weird enough that I need to document it. And so I extinguished the sweetgrass as well. And I grabbed my journal and I started writing about how, you know, both of my smudges were acting weird, and like there was a lot of fire and sparking and smoke, and, you know, it just seemed really weird. Well, as I was sitting there writing that, I started to feel like this really intense, heavy presence. But I got this distinct impression. It didn't feel like something had barged it on me. Like typically when I think about paranormal activity or hauntings or anything, I think about like an entity or a spirit that's not supposed to be there that kind of infringes upon your space or like violates your space somehow. But it didn't feel like that. Instead it felt almost like the room itself had changed, and suddenly I was in the presence of something and I wasn't supposed to be. It almost felt like, and I told this to my wife,
like that one time that we thought we were going on a big ghost adventure and we turned around when we got there.
Exactly, yes. We're like, nope, it's all good.
We're so brave. No, cool. Bye, let's go to bed.
Yeah, like we can just go to bed and like get breakfast in the morning. Like, you know, it's no big deal. But yeah, so I felt, and I said the same thing to my wife too, and it definitely freaked her out. I didn't intend to freak her out. But anyway, it felt like I was in two places at once. Like it totally did. It sounds like I'm bullshitting you, but I swear to God, that's just how it felt. Like I was occupying.
I believe you.
Thanks, Senna. I appreciate that.
Big time, pal.
But this presence, wherever I was, it almost felt like it didn't know I was there. And so I didn't get the impression that it wanted to hurt me, but I definitely felt on high alert, like as though I were around a predator, almost like if it wanted to hurt me, it definitely could. And
it was definitely negative.
Yeah, it was absolutely, it was frightening. And I kept trying to decide, it's like, is it negative or is it just like, because in the moment I was still kind of trying to,
right,
I don't know, be receptive
process
or something.
it.
Yeah, and like kind of figure out what's going on. So I'm like, is it negative or is it like just a spirit that I don't understand? You know what I mean? Like I was trying not to judge it, I guess, but like I don't know. So, well, also, okay, for some context, I have a small altar in my room to the Norse goddess Hel, who is goddess of the underworld. I personally see her as like a really compassionate kind of equalizing figure. A lot of people see her as super dark though, but like, and I mean, she is dark, but I never see her as
whatever, sinister. You do you.
Yeah, you know, but like, I don't see her as like sinister, but like part of me was wondering, because I've heard other people talk about like having experiences with deity, and I never have. And I've honestly kind of seen deity as like just symbolism. Like that's kind of how I've used it in the past. But like part of me was wondering, I'm like, is hell here? Like I was like, and I've got this picture of like this half skeletal woman, you know, like on an altar. I'm like, maybe it's her, but I don't think it was. Mostly because, like I said, my application or the way that I apply deity in my practice isn't really on a literal level. But anyway, so as I was sitting there, I got the impression that this thing noticed me, and the room got very cold, which I know is kind of cliche, but it did. It got really cold. And I shit you not, I physically felt something touch my arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my right arm, it felt like a really light hand, like, so someone who was very intentionally and just like very gently laying their hand on my upper arm. And I froze. Like, I didn't know what to do. And my mind is still trying to make sense of it. I'm like, am I suddenly experiencing tactile hallucinations? Like, did I lose it? Is this it? My mind is gone, you know? And as I'm sitting there, I'm feeling it move. So like, it felt like it touched my upper arm, and then I felt the hand leave my arm, and then it felt like it clutched my elbow. And I'm just like sitting there, not sure what to do. I'm just kind of frozen in fear. And again, I was trying, like earlier I had been trying not to judge. So I was still just kind of sitting there, and I started feeling, and this felt very cold too. It was like this kind of cold, tingly, but pressure, as though someone was touching me. And then I felt it on my right hip and kind of on my waist, as though it had like sat in my chair next to me.
Yeah, at that point I'd be like, listen.
Yep, that was when that was about the point, yeah, that I decided I wasn't liking it anymore. And I've
got boundaries, and I think you need to respect that.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And I like shot out of my chair, and I like immediately cast circle. And I hadn't cast a circle yet, because usually when I do ancestral meditations, I don't know, I smudge first, and then, you know what I mean? But I had started journaling right after I'd smudged. So anyway.
You are so irresponsible.
Apparently. I've learned some things, I tell you.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my Athame, and I was like very, like, I don't want to say aggressive, but very assertive and direct. And like when I cast my circle, and kind of called the corners with regard to like their protective correspondence, and kind of told this thing it needed to like leave me the hell alone.
Peace out.
Yeah. And I also, so once I cast the circle, I was in the circle, and I felt that my spirit guide was there. And so I picked up my pendulum. That's my, I guess, preferred means of communication with my spirit guide. And we, you know, it's typically just a standard like yes or no question and answer type thing. My pendulum and I have like a very specific, you know, movement for yes and a very specific movement for no. And when I first started asking questions of my spirit guide, it started off normally. Like I asked, even though I knew, I was like, is something else in the room with us? And I got a big yes. And then I'd ask, does it want to hurt me? And it would just kind of go still, and then give me like a tiny no. And I'm like, okay.
Like, no.
I don't like, maybe not. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm like, okay.
Or
and so,
like,
what?
No. Like, yeah, I'm trying to think of like, it's kind of hard to decipher like the tone of voice of a spirit when you're
right. Yeah. Especially when you like only got a pendulum. You're like adding tone to like a swinging rock on a chain.
Right. That's why I'm like, I think like I'm becoming more comfortable with spirit boards because of that reason. Because it's like I have an option to be able to communicate, and I don't have it.
Right.
But
for that. So anyway, I asked if this thing wanted to hurt me multiple times. Every time it said no, even though it was a small no. But after asking those questions, the pendulum decided to start moving in ways I had never seen it move before. It's really hard to describe, because typically when you see something hanging on a chain, if it swings one way, it swings back the other way. Well, this pendulum just like, it like had a mind of its own. It like would swing kind of and then come back to the center and stop. Like it wouldn't swing back the other way. Or it would like change direction. I'm not kidding, you guys. Like it like changed direction. And so it's like, I really wished that I had, because like at one point during one of Senna's visits, we had done like a small spirit communication up in my room. We had communicated with the pendulum. And we'd written out kind of a rudimentary spirit board with an alphabet on it so we could try to, you know, get more specific answers. I don't have that anymore. And I wish I did. And I didn't think to draw it out because I almost wondered if it was trying to like spell something out or like,
right.
Because it was moving in that kind of way, like in a very specific, irregular way. It was bizarre. And so I took that to mean something bad. And I decided to end the conversation with my spirit guide. And I like started throwing protection powder everywhere. And I crafted a banishment incense and started burning that. And I did feel the energy shift a little bit. Like it felt a little calmer, a little less heavy. And by this point, it was like 11 p.m. and I've been super tired lately, like every night since. I've been falling asleep like at 8 o'clock. I'm like 90 years old, you guys. But anyway, it was like 11 o'clock and I'm used to being in bed earlier than that. And it seemed to have calmed down. So I decided I was going to go to bed. So I closed my circle and like extinguished all my candles. And I walked into my bedroom and my wife had fallen asleep on top of the covers. She looked super uncomfortable, but, you know, seemed to be in a sound sleep. And the second I walked in the door, and I didn't say anything to her, I wasn't walking loud or anything. I was actually trying to be quiet since she had fallen asleep. But the second I stepped foot inside the door, she shot bolt upright in bed and clutched her chest and gasped as though she had just like, I don't know what, but it scared the shit out of me. And I jumped like 10 feet high because of what had just happened. And I'm like, oh my God, what's the matter? And she had these really wide eyes, like she was in a panic. And then she just kind of like snapped out of it and was like, nothing, I'm fine. Like it was just.
Does she remember doing it?
She remembers waking up suddenly, but she doesn't remember like clutching her chest. She doesn't remember like being afraid, but like she was clearly very afraid.
Right.
So at that point, like that freaked me out all over again because I'm just like, what the hell? And I had to like get my clothes out for the next day and everything anyway. So I had to turn a light on and like get around. And I told her what had happened because I was pretty scared. And I don't know about you guys, but when I get scared, I want a voice of reason to tell me that there's no reason to be afraid.
Right.
So like I started saying what happened, expecting her and hoping for her to be like, you know what? It was just in your head. Like, we've been gone for a while. You're tired. Like you've been really tired. And like, you hadn't had an experience in your room for a while. Like it probably just seems a lot more intense than it was, but it freaked her out. She was like, I don't feel good about this. Like something feels off. And like, my wife is a very skeptical person. Like
right. Well, she's a science teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's a science teacher. She describes herself as an atheist. Like she is a very like logical, just a very logical person. And so for her to be like, something feels off, I don't feel good about it. That was very unusual. And anyway, we didn't really know what to do about it at that point though. And so we just decided to like turn Friends on or something and fall asleep to it.
Yay, Friends. That's what I want to turn to too. Right? Something feel good.
It does. And it makes the world seem safe and manageable. But anyway, so we eventually fall asleep and we have a sleep timer on. So the TV shut itself off, whatever. And it was probably around like 2:30 or 3 a.m. We're woken up by my dog, Sparks, who, if anyone's listening, has seen the other
More
day.
Sparks.
Huh?
More Sparks happened.
Yep, more Sparks. You guys know she's a big dopey dog, but we woke up to her freaking out. Like, and when I say freaking out, I don't just mean like barking, like a car had pulled in the driveway or like she saw something in the road. Because she wasn't just alerting us to something, like she was scared. Like she was barking, she was howling, she was whimpering. She kept like jumping up on the bed and jumping in my lap and like trying to claw her way up my chest like she wanted me to hold her. Like I have never seen, I know, like I have never seen her or any other dog, and I've had dogs my whole life. I've never seen a dog act like that before. It was bizarre. And like I had mentioned it to someone, I don't remember who, but they were like, well, I wonder if they're like, oh, I think it was Jeff. He was like, it was probably just like the coyotes in your yard, but we live in the country. Like we have coyotes around pretty regularly, and she's not afraid of them. Like she should be afraid of them. She's just not very smart, and like she's not. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen her like run after things.
Yeah, like this dog has no, she typically has no fear. And yeah, something had scared the shit out of her. And like, so she was, and when I say she was whimpering and climbing on me and stuff like that, it wasn't just for a short period of time either. It took me like 20 minutes to calm her down. Like my wife, compared it, she's like, the only thing I could think to compare it to is like a kid who has night terrors. But like, our dog has never done anything like that before, and she hasn't done anything since. And the fact that it happened on the night that this weird thing happened in my house, like it really freaked me out. So we both had terrible night's sleep after that. We both had really vivid nightmares until our alarms went off in the morning. And almost immediately when I got to work, I actually, that long text I sent you, I'd actually written it in an email at first. And then I just ended up like opening it, like copying and pasting it and sending it to you in a text. But like, it was so long that I had to type it in a keyboard basically. But like,
wow.
So like, as soon as I got to work, I'm like, I have to tell Senna and I need help because, and even my wife, again, who is very skeptical and logical, before we left for work that morning, she was like, will you like talk to some people to see if you can get some advice or some help with this?
That's pretty crazy for her.
Yeah. So that was that. And thankfully, Senna was very helpful. She sent me a ritual, which we did. Yesterday.
Oh, good.
Or was it the day before? It might have been the day before. Anyway, the point is we did the ritual, and I do feel a lot better now. We've slept fine since. The dog has slept fine since. But yeah, it was a very, very strange experience. I don't know why it happened. I don't know. So that was my paranormal experience for the week. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I know.
I wonder what it was, who it was, why were they there?
Right. That's what I'm like trying, especially because like I said, I had the distinct impression that they didn't know I was there and that I didn't feel like they were intruding. It's like I felt like there was something in, like, it's going to sound so hokey to use the word realm, but it felt like, okay, so there was like something in one realm and then me in my realm, but we occupy the same physical space, and the barrier between those two realms was like gone or something. So we were in the same space, but neither of us had intentionally come into the presence of the other. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how it felt. And yeah, I did not like it. It was,
well, I mean,
uncomfortable. So yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I just wonder why it was there in the first place. Like, if it was somebody from like the house previously that just kind of popped up out of nowhere, or what? Did you end up contacting your ancestral guide that night?
Yeah, he was who I was talking to when I was in circle. Like I was asking him questions about whatever else was in the room.
Okay.
At least I thought I was talking to him. I don't know, like, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it was in the circle with me. So I feel like I was talking to my ancestral guide, but yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't, and I don't know if I believe in like demons or angels or anything like that, but it didn't really feel particularly human.
Right.
Like I didn't get the sense that I was in the presence of a person. You know what I mean? Like it felt foreign and like really uncomfortable for me. Like Yeah, because like if I had just accidentally like wandered in on a person, you know what I mean, like a stranger,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, my gut instinct wouldn't be to like clam up and like have this fight or flight response. It would be like, oh, sorry, my bad, you know. Like,
Yeah, right.
and for the most part, I mean, granted, like we've talked about how big of weenies we are, like when we went to the cemetery and chickened out, but in other like most of the time, I feel relatively comfortable communicating with spirits of what I
Right.
think are people. Like I don't find it scary. I, for the most part, don't think they intend to cause harm. But this felt different.
Right.
So,
Well, you can tell like if something is positive or negative, you know,
oh
it might
yeah,
even if it's not there to cause harm, it might not be a nice
right. That's kind of
entity.
how it felt. Right. It was just.
And I'm
Go
oh
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna mention how you and I kind of seem to perceive the paranormal in different ways,
Yes.
like whether it's sensing energy or like I tend to see things.
Right.
And I mean, I've heard things as well. I hear things more along the lines of music or like our experience where it was like I could hear movement, but I can't hear voices, which is kind of crazy.
See, like
Which
go ahead.
I think you've mentioned that you can or you can hear something.
So I hardly ever see anything. Like I did have an experience with a shadow person when I was very young. Like, but I don't know, maybe I like lost the ability to see things as I aged. So I don't see things very often anymore, but I typically hear things and I mean, I definitely like feel things. That's my first thing. Like I can feel like when something's there or off or whatever. And I typically like I don't know, I can feel residual stuff too. Like I think I have retrocognition, like I connect to the past really well rather than with the future, and not necessarily with spirits, but sometimes. But I feel like I kind of connect to past events almost. But anyway, I also, when I pick up on a spirit, like a specific spirit, I tend to hear far more often than I see. So like I don't know, like I'll hear movement, like, and it starts as like a really subtle, almost like, you know how when someone like steps up behind you, but they walk really quietly and you almost just hear the air move?
Yes.
Yeah. So like it starts like that and it ends up progressing. And I mean, I don't hear fully formed voices often, but it has happened. Like I've heard whispers before. Never anything terribly useful, but you know. And I don't know. I wish, and I know I say this so often, but I wish we lived closer because I feel like you and I, if we were brave enough to do like ghost hunts and stuff, I feel like we would pick up on a lot because I feel like our sensitivities would lend to each other really well.
Right. Well, I mean, they did even before we, you know, awakened.
That's true.
Or whatever. You know, like we both sensed things so strongly, but I mean, we didn't know how to tap into that because we weren't really, well, we were taught it was evil. That's why.
Yeah. We're like, the devil's trying to get its claws into us.
Right. Exactly. Which is why we don't have spirit boards. We just make like makeshift ones.
Because when I was younger, my mom was like, if you play that board, you're going to bring a demon into this house. And I'm like, I don't know.
With your scary movies and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. But that's so crazy. Well, I'm glad that it's getting better. And
yes, me too.
I mean, from my experience and from experiences that I hear from others, it's all about establishing your space and making sure they know, like, I'm not going anywhere, so you have to. You don't have a choice because you don't belong here.
That's a good point.
And just because they feed on, you know, they feed on your fear and they feed on like being intimidating, and it's important to use that almost like a dominance in a way.
Yeah,
but it also helps. Yeah, but I think one of the best things that I've been told, and I told you this, is telling them, this is my space. You aren't welcome. You know, leave now. Don't come back, but find the light and follow it. So like you're urging them, if it's something that hasn't quite moved on like it should, or if it's something negative, then obviously it needs to find the light and it needs to find positivity.
Right.
And so urging it in that direction hopefully helps.
Speaking of that,
you can sleep at night.
I had mentioned, you know, a couple times like how skeptical my wife was. And Myri was just talking about, I'm Myri, what the hell? And Senna was just talking about.
We're gonna start talking in third person.
What?
We're gonna start talking in third person.
Just to make it even more confusing. So I've mentioned a few times how skeptical my wife is, and Senna was just talking about, you know, kind of what you say to a spirit or an entity in order to get them out of your space. Well, just to kind of solidify again how frightening this experience was for everyone in my home, my wife like chanted with me in the ritual. Like, that's crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I know
like,
your wife, and I'm kind of in the like split center. Like, I believe in science and logic and practical things, but also I like tying these two together because I think they go hand in hand. And so like I can understand, and I can understand a lot of her perspective, but that's pretty crazy that she was willing to do that with you.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm like, because it wasn't even just like that she was going along with it, like she wanted to participate,
right? Voluntarily.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. But anyway, I feel like I've taken up a lot of time, and you also had a paranormal experience this week because
I did.
Yeah,
it's really insane that we both had such strong experiences.
It really is.
I mean, it was. Let's see, yours was what day?
I think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, mine was.
Oh wait, no, I think it was Monday actually, because it was the day after we got back from our trip.
Right. Okay, and mine was actually Saturday night. So like, we got to meet one of our friends off of the Spell Club, which is the group we're all a part of.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she had contacted me, and and she was like, "Hey, I'm traveling and I'm kind of tired. Like, where are you in Tennessee?" And so like I told her, I was like, "Girl, come on up. Like,
that's awesome.
Come rest, whatever." And so it was awesome. So I got to meet one of my actually good friends off of there who I hadn't met yet. Yeah, that actually just moved to Michigan. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, we shall hang out next time I'm up. But
oh my God. Yeah.
So on Saturday night, I went to well, we had our circle met, our coven met, and I say coven loosely. We're all eclectic, so like we do like our rituals together, and we celebrate the Sabbats and things like that. But like, we're not like hardcore. You have to worship these specific deities, whatever. But we had a divination tonight because some of us wanted to like practice with some new tarot decks and whatnot. And afterwards, I was staying the night at my friend's house, and so every time I go, her apartment, I say house, but it's apartment. I have to be technical. But every time I go to her place, like I always see something. And so last time I was there, which was actually a few months ago, I sleep in this one room that she has, and I saw a shadow person in there. And like, and I tried to tell her about it, and she was like, I think it freaked her out a little bit. Because she also, you know, grew up a lot like we did. But usually she's more open to that kind of thing. But I think when I'm like, I just saw something in your apartment, like,
right.
It's different when it's like, when it's like in your home.
Yeah.
Oh, like that alone is freaky, but especially when you like live by yourself, that's even more freaky.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Anyway, so this time I was in this room, and it was the middle of the night. Like I just suddenly woke up, and I don't even know why I woke up, but it was like just suddenly I was wide awake, and I just looked up at the ceiling, and there was this orb that was just slowly traveling across the ceiling. And like I've seen orbs before, and I've seen like balls of light, but like they never move slow.
Yeah.
They're always moving fast. And so I'm sitting there staring at it like, okay, maybe I'm half asleep. It's obviously not the fire detector though, because the fire detector is like right next to it. And so, like, and it was a pitch dark room. Like she has this big comforter over the window.
Oh,
like
wow.
There's no light anywhere. So I was just sitting there staring at this ball of light, watching it move across the ceiling.
Wow.
And I was kind of freaked out because it was like, okay, hi, person or whatever. So I grabbed my phone and I turned on the flashlight setting on my phone, and like I don't see anything there. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just half asleep. I'm just dreaming it. And then I turn the flashlight off, and for a second, like there isn't anything. I'm looking over there, and then it appears again. It just appears out of nowhere, and it's like slowly moving down the wall.
Oh my God.
And I'm like sitting there staring at it, like I know what I'm seeing. Like there's no question. But it freaked me out because I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't really feel like it was negative particularly. I felt like I was like, I don't know, it wanted me to see it. Like it clearly wanted me to see it, but it freaked me out. So I ran out to Kelsey, who, sorry, I said her name, but oh well. I ran out to Kelsey. Now you know. And I tried to wake her up, but she's kind of a heavy sleeper. And so she's like, did you ask it what it wants? I'm like, no. And she's like, I'm sure it was just a reflection or something. And I'm like, no, it was not a reflection. Like it's a pitch dark room. There's nothing in there. And so, and I watched this thing move like across the ceiling onto the wall. Like it was just, I knew what I saw. And so I was like, I'm gonna come sleep out here. and so I like moved my little like blow up mattress like into the living room, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep out here for a while. And then I ended up like going back in there, but I like slept with the light on because I was so freaked out about it.
Oh man.
And like normally like I'm not as freaked out, especially like, you know, I mean we go and find things and stuff, but it's like when they show up without warning, like you know, it's one thing if you're expecting company, but when you wake up and company is like peering over your bed, like that's not cool. So no, that was just not okay. So I told her like I want to do a circle, like, you know, I have my pendulum because we just did divination night, and so you know, let's try that out. So I'm not entirely sure who we were communicating with. She had her ideas, but yeah, that's another story. But so I like, okay, so I started the divinations, and so I'm trying to communicate with it, and it's like telling me like we both don't know it and whatnot, and I'm getting a feeling like either it's, you know, someone maybe we're related to, or someone that like just one of us knows. And mind you, like my dad passed away like 10 years ago, and so like there was a chance it could have been, but I wasn't like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like it was, because he usually contacts me in dreams.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, so like whenever he speaks to me, it's like it's always been in dreams. And so I don't know. I have my ideas, but also I don't feel satisfied with our communication. That's a whole other story. Didn't really go as smoothly as I hoped it would, but that's life, I guess. And friendship. Oh, friendship. So, and friendship. But it was really freaky. It really freaked me out. And every single time I'm over there. But yeah, I had contacted you that morning and I told you about it.
Yeah.
Before we ended up doing the divinations.
That was freaky too, because like I was camping and I had just rolled over and picked up my phone like in my tent. And as soon as I picked up my phone, Senna texted me and it vibrated and I dropped my phone on my face because it scared me so bad.
You knew. You heard my spirit.
I did. I know. And then it was like that message, like, dude, I think there's a ghost in my room.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so freaky. And like, well, I ended up, actually, I didn't tell you this part, but I ended up texting. So one of the people that's in our circle, we actually all met because one of our friends owns a metaphysical shop. And that's usually, we either meet at like her house or at the metaphysical shop. And so I had ended up texting her and I was like, so this happened. And she was like, that's amazing. You made contact. And like, she can see now, has gotten to the point where she can see orbs in daylight.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And like, I've been able to see it at like dusk, but like generally I haven't, like when I think about it, like I haven't really seen them in light. If it's been in daylight, it's been because I was either taking a picture or taking a video of something and I saw it fly across my screen, but I didn't see it with the naked eye. So which is kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know how you develop that skill because I never know when it's going to happen. Right. So it just happens. And like, and it's so funny. Like, I think we talked about this, or I at least told her, I was like, I am always the person that sees something. Like when I was part of the paranormal group and everything, it was like, I mean, I was standing right there and like, I saw an orb fly right in front of me from one grave to the next one. And we're all sitting in a circle and nobody else saw it. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. I saw it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't see anything. And I'm like, I swear. I mean, it was huge. It was a huge orb. And it like, and I knew that the graves that it flew from and into were related. Like they were they were like family members. And so it was really weird, but I'm always the one who sees something, which is like, because I'm still getting used to that. Again, going back to our backgrounds, it's like I'm trying to get used to being more comfortable with being contacted, because like you said, obviously this entity wanted me to see it.
Yeah.
Like clearly it wanted me to see it. And so I felt like I either had a message to relay or something of that sort.
Wow.
But I didn't get to contact it as much as I wanted to because it got hijacked. Right. I'm a little bitter about it because I feel like I don't have closure with that experience.
Right. I still say, like, it doesn't, it doesn't need to be over. Like the next time you're there, I mean, I know it's creepy to contact something by yourself, but like,
but if I'm expecting it,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
I think I'd feel more comfortable with it. And, having something more than a makeshift board or two. Because I made one kind of like you and I had. I made two. I made the whole like pendulum board, and then I made more of like a Ouija board on the paper. But I didn't get the chance to use the Ouija board.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my experience this last weekend. So it's so crazy that we both had experiences.
It is. It's so weird. And like, it makes me almost concerned because it's like, okay, so clearly the veil is thinning. How the hell am I going to feel in October?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, is shit just going to keep happening?
Right. Well, and when you think of it, there are a lot of chances these things happened around us anyway, but we just didn't pay attention to it because it always feel like, oh, that's just, whatever, I saw something coming off the street or something shining into the window, so I think there's a lot of stuff that we just don't notice, but it's still happening, and now we're able to put a name on it. So yeah. I just think it's just so crazy that it happened to both of us.
Definitely. So weird. And I do feel like I learned some things, like, like don't take protective measures for granted.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, oh, I need to protect my room better. Wow. So.
Right. And your house and
In my
all that
house.
kind of
Definitely
stuff.
my whole house. But like, because I, do most of my activity in that room, because I've actually wondered before too, because that was actually my second experience in that room. And I almost wonder if like engaging in magical activities like attracts things or something, like they sense it.
Oh, I'm sure. I
Yeah.
honestly think that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Because you're almost like opening, I don't want to say opening up a portal,
Right.
but in a way you are, like
Mm-hmm.
mentally. And you're setting your space, which
Right.
is conducive to, spiritual activity,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's your own spiritual activity or something else's. So,
Right.
I
That's a
mean,
good point.
the whole purpose of it is to be able to like cultivate your spirituality, and so
Yeah.
it would make sense that you're connecting with something else.
Sure, that's a really good way to put that. It's almost like if they function on a certain frequency, and we're
Mm-hmm.
doing work to tune into that frequency. So like it would stand to reason why they would be attracted to that.
Right.
Like
someone's speaking my language, like
yeah, they're like, hey, like I hear that.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. I wish we could see it from their side, but we can't.
Well, maybe one day we will, assuming the same thing happens to all of us when we meet our physical
fate.
end. Yeah. I'm like, what are all the things I can say instead of death?
When we die, we reach our ends. Yeah. So, all right. Do we want to tell our other ghost stories?
Sure.
Mine's pretty short anyway, so.
Okay, mine kind of is too. Well, mine's sort of still happening, which I'm like,
ooh.
Yeah. So like mine's short because it's still in progress. It's like, yeah. So
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how legitimate it is. Obviously, when things are actively happening or have just happened, it's hard to like prove validity. But at any rate, it's really fascinating and really entertaining. Have you heard of the Dear David story?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Do you mind if
Go for it.
Okay. Go for it.
I'm intrigued. I want to hear it.
Okay. So this is happening on, hold on. I'm going to actually pull it up on my phone because I don't want to like get names wrong. And that way, if anyone wants to like look it up, and they should, they can. But this is basically a story. It's currently going on, and it all started with this guy posting about it on Twitter. In fact, I think I'm just gonna like read you guys the feed if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Cat, I'm sorry. You guys can't see the cat, but he's walking all over me.
Is that the really smelly cat?
Huh?
Is that smelly cat?
Yep. He smells a little less horrific these days. I think it's because my dog has taken to like cleaning him. So
that's very funny.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can just like find the feeds. Like, okay, so this is only going to be the first few things. But so basically, this is a man. His name is Adam Ellis, and he completely, like, before this, all of his activity was very like basic. He never talked about anything paranormal or anything. And so it seems, if this is some sort of internet hoax, this guy has gone through a lot of trouble to make people believe, like, he would have been planning this for years, is basically what I'm getting at. So here we go. Adam Ellis. So
is it Ellis? I'm gonna look him up. You said it's on Twitter?
Yeah. Yep. This whole thing happened on Twitter.
Adam Ellis. Is it Is it Moby Dickhead?
What?
Is it Moby Dickhead?
Oh, yeah, it is Moby Dickhead. I didn't even realize that was his name.
Nice.
That is so funny. Okay. So it goes as follows. So my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child, and he's trying to kill me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He started appearing in dreams, but I think he's crossed over into the real world now. The first time I saw him, I was experiencing sleep paralysis and saw a child sitting in the green rocking chair at the foot of my bed. He had a huge misshapen head that was dented on one side. I did my best to draw it. And if you guys look up the feed, he actually includes, like, he posts a picture to his Twitter of a drawing that he drew. Did you see it?
Sorry, I'm getting ahead. Okay.
Oh, don't do that.
The drawing, where's the drawing?
It's pretty early on. Like, it's like the first 4 posts.
I see a cat.
What? I don't know.
I see Sage. He saged.
He did sage. Wow. Are you going backwards? Because you're looking at most recent.
Oh, I'm trying to go backwards to look at the earliest.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Try not to read ahead because it gets pretty intense.
Okay. I'm not reading ahead.
Okay. So he puts in the picture, and
is it the thing with the weird head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said he woke up, he was experiencing sleep paralysis, and he saw a child sitting in the green rocking chair at the end of his bed, and he had like this huge misshapen head. For a while, he just stared at me, but then he got out of the chair and started shambling toward the bed. I couldn't move because I was paralyzed. I have sleep paralysis fairly often. It sucks. Right before he reached the bed, I woke up screaming. I had another dream a few nights later where I was in the library and a girl came up to me and said, "You've seen Dear David, haven't you?" I was like, "Who?" And she said, "Dear David, you saw him." She continued, "He's dead. He only appears at midnight, and you can ask him 2 questions if you said Dear David first." Then she added, "But never try to ask him a 3rd question or he'll kill you." Then David came back in another dream. Same situation. I was in bed, and he was sitting in the rocking chair near the window staring at me. In the dream, I say, "Dear David, how did you die?" He mumbles, "An accident in a store." I say, "Dear..."
Whoa, I'm sorry.
What?
My screen went off.
Oh.
I'm sorry, keep going.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. I was like, what happened? I'm frozen.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, seriously. I'm frozen.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're all good. All good. I'm frozen in fear. I ask, "Who pushed the shelf?" David doesn't answer. Oh, wait. Oh, dang it. I got ahead of myself. I say, "Dear David, what happens in the store?" He groans, "A shelf was pushed on my head." I'm frozen with fear. I ask, "Who pushes the shelf?" David doesn't answer. I realize that I've asked a 3rd question, which I'm not supposed to do. At that point, I wake up absolutely terrified. The next couple days, I Googled deaths in the city, but can't find anything about a kid named David dying in a store. I even tried different names: Daniel, Dylan, Devin, nothing. A few weeks go by without incident. Sort of randomly, the apartment above mine is vacated. I have the opportunity to move into it. It's larger, and so I'm thrilled. Another month or 2 goes by, and I sort of forget about Dear David. I think he lost track of me because I moved upstairs. But lately, something strange is happening. For the past 4 nights, my cats gather at the front door at exactly midnight and just stare at it, almost like something's on the other side. And here he inserts a picture as well of his 2 cats just like staring at the bottom of his door.
I saw that.
Yeah. Last night, I got a weird feeling and looked out the peephole, and I'm dead certain I saw movement on the other side. When I opened the door and turned on the hall light, nothing was there, but my cat seemed unnerved, bushy tails, etc. That's where I am right now. I'm not sure what my next course of action should be. And so that was his first feed, or his first few feeds.
Mm-hmm. No, he's that artist guy that does the like weird shaped dude. It looks like.
What?
Like he's an artist.
He is?
Yeah, he does that. Yeah, you've probably seen him, the little cartoons with like the guy with like the crazy hair and the beard and stuff. Like,
I don't know.
It's on there. But anyway, continue.
Okay, well, I have to find the next part because that was only like the first part. Um, Actually, I feel like I remember. So this won't be directly off the feed, but I remember the general gist of it
Mm-hmm.
from that point on. So basically, he ends up messing around. He has this old Polaroid camera because, oh, actually, I think he mentions that he's an artist somewhere in the feed.
Uh-huh.
Because he says that he like has this old Polaroid camera and he likes photography, and he was just like taking a few test pictures to make sure that his film hadn't been destroyed because it was old, like it was vintage film. So he was just like taking pictures around his apartment, like nothing weird or anything. But then he ended up taking a picture, like his cats were doing the weird thing again, like yowling at the door and stuff and acting really unnerved. Um, and so he opened the door and decided to take a picture out into the hallway. And it's a Polaroid camera. So, like, this isn't an image that's been photoshopped or anything, but like, it's
Right.
just black outside his door. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a dark hallway, like, it is black. And he also took a picture with it through the peephole, and like, through the peephole, it's black. And, I don't know, it was so bizarre. Like, he kept taking test pictures with his phone too because he thought, well, maybe it's just like a weird reaction to the film somehow, like it's like it just doesn't pick up light properly because it's old. So like he was taking pictures with his phone and stuff, and they were totally normal. Like there was light in the hallway, everything was fine, but like all of the Polaroids, the light's weird, and the hallway is completely pitch black. um and he said he had like felt this presence in the hallway. um And so, like, the dreaming gets worse. Dear David's constantly like haunting his dreams. Um, and most recently, his most recent couple threads have been so like he's been planning a trip to Japan, and he
Mm-hmm.
decided to install one of those like nanny cams to like monitor his cats while he's away. Like he has someone coming by to feed him and stuff, but just so he can like see that they're okay, he installed one because he's going to be gone for like a few weeks or something. And so he had been staying just for a night. He had stayed with a friend and decided to test out the camera because he can check in like with an app on his phone. So he like turned down the camera function, was watching like live video of his apartment, and he like saw his cats like playing and just, generally being cats, so like they were fine. But oh, also I left out that it has like a motion detector in it. So like it
Uh-huh.
also would like to detect like a break-in or something like while he was away. And
Right.
so that was another reason why he'd had it installed. So anyway, a couple of times through the night, his motion detector thing goes off. It alerts his phone. He turns on the camera to see it. And a couple of the times it's just the cats or whatever. But then like late at night or early in the morning, like 3 a.m. or 4 or something like that, um, he gets a motion sensor alert on his phone, and he turns on the camera, and the cats are both asleep and the rocking chair is rocking. Um, like the same green rocking chair that had been on the foot of his bed
That's so crazy.
that he first saw him
I,
in.
I see the video of it and it is creepy.
Yeah, right. There's video. Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. So, um, there are a couple of other things too. Like other people, I guess, have been like paying such close attention to this that they were pointing things out in the video too. Like, one of your kitchen chairs is gone. Like in the second frame of this, like who moved that chair? And like, um, and also like he has this turtle shell like hung on his wall, and he got another motion alert like in the middle of the night, and like the turtle shell had just randomly fallen off the wall. Um, and so I don't remember if he went on the trip and then came back, or I don't remember, but the next post was basically that he had another horrible nightmare about Dear David, that he had him by the neck and was dragging him through an old abandoned warehouse.
Weird.
Yeah. Or no, he had him by the arm. Sorry, he had him by the arm, and he was dragging him through this huge abandoned warehouse. And he woke up terrified, and he had a bruise on his arm where he dreamed David was dragging him from. And he has a picture of that as well, the bruise. And anyway, he like he decided to go out for coffee that morning. And on his, like, I guess on his route to his usual coffee place, there's this warehouse depot where there's always like food trucks being repaired or something like that. And he says it's usually like a really busy area. There's always like so many trucks there getting serviced and people. It's like bustling. And he walked by it that morning when he went to get coffee, and the place was cleared out. Like it was, and the door was open, and it was like the abandoned warehouse he had seen in his dream.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so he went inside like to take pictures because he just thought the coincidence was too crazy that he had to see if there was something else in there. And he went inside, and the only thing that had been left behind in this warehouse was a green chair. And the chair that he first saw Dear David in when he was having sleep paralysis, and the one that was moving in the video was also green. So like that's, you know, kind of a weird comparison. And as far as I know, that's where the updates end. At least that was the last I had kept up on. And I mean, I acknowledge that, like, this could just be really good storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, I have to acknowledge that possibility, but if it's not, holy crap.
Right.
And I mean, he includes some relatively compelling evidence. It might be able to be faked. I don't know. It could be, but it's pretty fascinating at any rate. So yeah, that's
I'm reading it as you tell me. So
oh yeah,
for being so quiet, but
no, that's okay.
You should definitely read it. His username is Moby_dickhead. So
yeah.
I'm just looking at, supposedly he got a couple records. There's a video of the chair moving, which is pretty weird. There were some recordings as well.
Like audio recordings?
Yes. Do you want me to see if I can play them?
Yeah, because I must not have seen that part.
And you would totally recognize his art. Like it's popular. Like you would totally, because it looks like, I think he works for BuzzFeed.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. So he did like a noise, what is it called? He used a sound app to record his apartment. And the first time he did it, there was a lot of like street noise. But the second time he did it, he adjusted the settings, and he had 33 recordings, and 3 of them were a little strange. So the first one's supposed to be like a snapping sound in what seems like a single step. It's odd because I didn't get out of bed all night. Okay, let's see if I can get it. It's kind of hard to hear. Let me try it again.
Okay.
The screen keeps going off. Okay. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay, let's listen to the second one. This one is weird because out of 33 recordings, this is the only one that has that strange electric sound throughout. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
It sounds like static.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird. Okay, the third one. This directly follows the electric static. Another snap, then I groan in my sleep.
Huh.
That's creepy.
That is creepy. Oh.
Ah!
Yeah, like that part, was that the most recent update?
No, that was a while ago.
Really?
Yeah. He has sage and tourmaline.
He has what?
He got sage and tourmaline.
Oh, good.
Those are from the 11th.
How did I miss that one? Maybe I was just like going through it too fast. You know, I was just like excited. I'm like, oh my God.
It looks like his most recent was 2 days ago.
Okay.
he took a picture. Let me see. Oh, he took 2 pictures of his. Oh, no. It was in a video. Someone just pointed out that one of the blue chairs in the background disappears in the second video.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. And then the chair came back. So that's kind of weird. Just kind of. But
just kind of.
That's crazy. And he does mention, like, I just want you guys to know that, like, I'm not doing this as, like, a publicity stunt. Like, this is legit. But did you ever watch The Haunting of Sunshine Girl?
No.
So it was a YouTube channel, and I started watching it, but I mean, hers was, like, clearly fake, and then they ended up making a young adult novel of it.
Okay.
Which is pretty popular. But I like, that one was obviously fake. This one, I feel like there is a pretty good chance it could be real.
Yeah.
I can see where it could be fake, but like I don't know. It seems pretty legit to me.
Well, like, especially, I actually feel like it's more legitimate considering, like, I didn't realize that this guy was like an artist who worked for BuzzFeed. And also now that I'm actually looking at his actual Twitter feed, like, he's not just talking about this. Like he clearly has a life other than, like, Dear David. So it seems, I don't know, that makes it seem more real to me. Because, like, like, he'll have, like, an experience and he's like, okay, all this crap happened. Like, I'm super scared. But then he, like posted something about, like he's just, like, talking to other people. Like, it almost, I thought I saw him make, like, a Game of Thrones joke or something, but, like, I mean, he's just like a normal dude, and so, I don't know, it seems it's compelling,
but I mean, I would want to tell people, because I'd be like, what is going on? Like, I'm all by myself and this is not okay.
Sparks. She's a weenus. Anyway.
That's a good story.
Yeah. So what's yours?
Okay, so mine is fairly short, but it's a good one. Have you ever heard of the Island of the Dolls?
Oh my God, yes.
So this takes place in Mexico. It's south of Mexico City, and I am gonna butcher names, but for the sake of that, I actually have Wikipedia up so it can pronounce the name of the little town, the city that this takes place in. So we're gonna listen to it.
Okay.
Maybe it's gonna play it. It wants to open it in Drive for some reason. You're supposed to just, like, click it and then it plays. I don't understand why it's doing that. Maybe I'm not meant to know. I just want to listen. It's like Zoki Milko. Like, I don't know. Zoki Milko. Not even close. Okay. Maybe?
Sorry.
I was all prepared and I had it pulled all, like, no.
Hey, it's cool.
Darn you, Mercury.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this takes place on a place called Zoki Milko. I'm so not even close. So this takes place there. And from now on, I'll just call it the Island of the Dolls, so I don't have to worry about it.
Good plan.
So anyway, so if you haven't heard about the Island of the Dolls, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is an island of creepy-ass dolls. And, like, I mean, they're creepy. Like, they're doll heads. There are dolls with, like, just, like, nasty dolls. And some of them have, like, it looks like blood is coming out of their eyes, and, like, their hair is all nappy, and they're, like, straight out of all naked. So it looks like the stuff of nightmares.
like there are two, like I'm pretty sure there's a Ghost Adventures episode of the Island of the Dolls, and there's also an episode of this show called Destination Truth, which I really like as well. And they're both really great episodes. So you guys should watch them.
Yes, and actually Ghost Adventures went there twice.
Oh, did they really?
They ended up revisiting it in they ended up revisiting it in like season 9. And that's how I knew about it, was because they went there. Give me lots of great ideas.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm going to start reading now. It's a grotesque playground of mutilated dolls, many hanging limp from nooses, others with heads attached to spikes, all with soulless eyes staring blankly ahead. Ugh. Mexico's Island of the Dolls has become an unlikely tourist attraction just south of Mexico City, drawing thousands of tourists and photographers morbidly strange spectacle. But it's the tragic story behind the island that is perhaps more disturbing, and it begins with the tragic death of an anonymous young girl more than 50 years ago. According to reports, a man named Don Julian Santana left his wife and child one day and moved to an Arlo lake in Xochimilco Canals to live out his years as a recluse. Upon arriving at the island, reportedly sometime in the 1950s, Santana discovered the body of a young girl who had drowned in a canal. He later found her toy doll floating nearby. Moved by the discovery of the girl's body and perhaps to appease her spirit, Santana set about transforming the whole island into a shrine dedicated to the lost soul. For decades, he collected dolls by their hundreds, including baby dolls and even some Barbies, and decorated the island with their lifeless bodies. Santana salvaged the dolls from the canals and garbage. He lived in a small cabin where his photo and a few possessions are still on display, surrounded by trees and some 1,500 of his decaying dolls. As word of the island spread, Santana began accepting a small fee to show visitors around his peculiar home. Ghost stories are a part of local lore in the region, which gave way to spooky tales of the dolls coming alive at night, apparently consumed by the dead girl's spirit. But in a dark twist, in 2001, Santana's nephew found him dead in a canal in the same spot where Santana had decades earlier discovered the corpse of the girl that inspired his life's work. As popular interest in the island and its dark legend grew, relatives of Santana questioned whether the dead girl really existed and suggested it was a figment of Santana's imagination. But the strangeness of the legend behind Santana's bizarre island has continued to fascinate the public. The crazy thing is that the reason he kept hanging the dolls was because he felt like, well, the girl's spirit had actually contacted him. And he kept hanging dolls to like appease her spirit, because apparently like it would get unsettled, and like I don't know if it would like scare him or what, or like if she kept telling him to hang the dolls, or like I don't know, she's like, where's my dolly, you know, something creepy like that. But he kept hanging it in order to try and keep the girl happy. And then rumor has it is that she wasn't the only spirit that was there, but obviously she was the one that affected him the most because he's the one that found her body. And so supposedly there were other spirits, even like the dolls that were brought in were like belonged to like dead children, and like their spirits ended up like basically just taking over the island.
Wow.
And like basically drove him crazy. And there's a medium that they spoke to, I don't think they spoke to him on Ghost Adventures. Maybe they did, but like Zach Bagans had mentioned that he had spoke to a medium that was close by who said that Santana's spirit now lives there too, and so he haunts the place as well.
I mean, that would make sense.
Right? Like he spent his whole life there. Why wouldn't he spend his afterlife there too? And who knows? Like, ooh, that's so creepy. But a lot of people have mentioned that they can hear the dolls whispering, or like it sounds like it's coming from the dolls, but like they can hear voices, and sometimes they can like see their eyes moving as they like walk around and stuff. And it's like super creepy. I remember on Ghost Adventures, like they had one that would like light up, but it didn't have batteries in it. Like there were no batteries in this doll and it was lighting up.
Yeah. And I remember one too, like those dolls where you lay them back and their eyes close. Yeah. I don't remember if it was Ghost Adventures or Destination Truth, but on one of them, they actually have video of this doll's eye like closing and opening. And it's like vertical. It's like standing upright. And like it's not moving. And this eye just like closes and opens on camera. Like it's creepy as hell.
Yeah. It's what's really creepy is like, I mean, they're not just like cutesy little dolls that little girls should want to play with. Like little girls should have nightmares from these kinds of dolls. Like they have like body parts that are all over the island, and like people come and bring dolls and hang them themselves too. So like there's always, you should look up pictures because there are tons of them and they are so creepy. And there's this book we got in at my last library I worked at called Creepy Ass Dolls. And I'm like, it had to be inspired by this place because it's like, actually I sent it as a surprise to one of my friends for their birthday because I was like, and then I sent them a creepy ass doll. It was pretty great. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but man, can you imagine like,
can you imagine being that guy's kid? Like, can you imagine like if you had a parent that just like
left you
and decided to live alone on this island and like worship the ghost of this dead little girl and like nail dolls everywhere? Like what would you do in that situation?
Why were you that dedicated to someone else's dead kid, but like you wouldn't take care of me, who is a child live and well, who would probably like a new doll, you know? Like what the hell, man?
Well, like even as like an adult child, like because I know that you had said like to talk to his son or whatever, but like
nephew. Like, I think it was his nephew.
Oh, his nephew. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay, never mind. That changes things a little bit. But yeah, I can't imagine like having a family member. You know what I mean? Just like decide to, you know.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that's super freaky. If I'm ever in the Mexico City area, I want to go.
Yeah, definitely. It would be really cool to go there. Really freaky, but really cool. Yeah. So what's crazy also, I forgot to mention about the whole Zach Bagans thing is that when he spoke to the medium, apparently she was contacted by the spirit of Don Julian days before they arrived, and he told her things about like Zach Bagans and the crew.
Oh, that's right.
And that they were going to be there, and that he was very angry at how his family was handling the island.
Wow.
So like apparently him like he still didn't like how his family was, you know, making it this big like tourist attraction, and a lot of people in the area don't see it as like haunted. They see it as charmed.
Okay.
Which is funny, but which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so yeah, charmed.
Wait, by what?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I wasn't able to find the information. There wasn't a lot of information on like the hauntings and things like that. There was mostly just like people seeing a lot of the same things that they show on like those shows and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of background information on that. So I'm like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. But so that was a pretty quick one. But that was mine. You should definitely look up pictures if you haven't seen it. They are creepy. They are so creepy. Creepy. I was trying to pull this up at work so I could print it out, and there are so many pictures. And I'm like, if somebody walks by here, they're gonna think I've lost it.
Yeah,
They knew I was so weird.
I'm often worried that people are gonna see like things that I Google, because like as a writer and as a writer of historical fiction, I have to do a lot of really random research that I don't originally anticipate having to do. Like, And so I'm like, if someone were to see what I look at on the computer and not know the context, they would think I am such a crazy person. Like how, like, okay. And even like without the context of knowing what the book is about, like things I have looked up before, old timey terms for vagina. And like, how were abortions performed in the 1600s? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's great. Kind of like how, you know, the author Anne Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and she writes like crime fiction and stuff like that, and she actually was convicted for murder.
Holy shit!
Yeah, did you know that?
No.
Okay, so this is really interesting. So Anne Perry, who is a huge, like hugely popular author, and she writes crime, like she writes about murder and stuff like that. When she was, I want to say she was maybe like 12 or 13, she had this best friend whose family was going to move away, and they didn't want to be separated. And so I can't remember if she killed both her mother and the girl's mother, or just one of them. I can't remember. But they killed one. They killed one of them. They served like jail time, but they were also minors. And so like she ended up changing her name because Anne Perry wasn't her original name. And her and this girl never ended up seeing each other again. So like it was all for nothing.
Oh my God.
And then she ended up writing crime. It's the craziest story. You should look it up. But I'm like,
that is so weird. Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's so funny.
About that on My Favorite Murder.
Yeah, right. Well, they mentioned it. They've mentioned it on the Facebook page because I was like, that's true. And it's so funny because at the library, like, I mean, we have all these like old little Christian ladies reading Anne Perry, and I'm like, do you know? Like,
that is so crazy.
The story behind this, because I don't think you do.
God, but, well, like, and it's, I don't know, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think that minors should be convicted as adults. There obviously is a lot of mental and emotional growth that happens in your adolescence, but like, if you're like 11 or 12, you still know that killing someone is wrong. Like,
right.
I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to piss off Anne Perry, not that she'll hear this, but like,
especially like a family member. You know?
Yeah, like you had to know. That's come on.
Yeah. That's a yeah. That was one of probably the craziest author stories I've heard yet. Because it's like you write about murder. Like, how on a clear conscience can you even do that?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, like I've never read any of her stuff.
She's been around for a while, and she's like Debbie Macomber, or like, you know, it kind of makes me think of like the James Patterson of like women writers.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. it kind of, I got that vibe from like what you were saying. But like I definitely heard the name before. Like I was familiar with her name. I've just never read her stuff. I had no idea. Yeah. Like, come on. I mean, I suppose she probably, you know, they say, write what you know. And, you know.
Right. Okay, she murdered her friend's mother.
Her friend's mother.
Yeah. And she changed her name after she only served a 5-year sentence.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, I have to ask, how'd she murder her?
Well, I'll tell you. Oh, you want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
If they can talk about paranormal stuff on My Favorite Murder, we can talk about murders on paranormal.
Like talk about murder.
Okay. Oh, I was close. She was 15.
Okay.
And actually,
that's even worse.
Right? She can almost drive. She can have her permit, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
So her birth name is Juliet Holm.
Wow. Okay.
So in June 1954, at the age of 15, she's like 78 now. Yeah, she's 78 now.
Wow.
Holm and her best friend, Pauline Parker, murdered Parker's mother, Honorup Reaper. Holm's parents were in the process of separating, and she was supposed to go to South Africa to stay with a relative. These people are from London. The two teenage friends, who had created a rich fantasy life together, populated with famous actors such as James Mason and Orson Welles, did not want to be separated. On the 22nd of June, 1954, the girls in honor, I don't know if it's, maybe it's Honora would be cooler.
That would be, yeah, that's a pretty sweet name, actually, Honora.
Honora Riper went for a walk in Victoria. I'm going to make it whatever the hell I want to. In their hometown of Christchurch. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
On an isolated path, Holm dropped an ornamental stone so that Riper would lean over to retrieve it. Parker had planned to hit her mother with half a brick wrapped in a stocking. The girls presumed that one blow would kill her, but it took more than 20. Parker and Holmes stood trial in Christchurch in 1954 and were found guilty on the 29th of August that year, as they were too young to be considered for the death penalty under New Zealand law at the time. Okay, so they lived in New Zealand.
Okay.
She lives in London now.
Okay.
They were convicted and sentenced to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure. Fancy. How about that fancy lifestyle you were dreaming
about? Yeah, convicted with class.
Fulfilling your fantasies, I see. In practice, they were detained at the discretion of the Minister of Justice. They were released separately 5 years later. Parker and Holm are not believed to have had any contact since the trial. So, like, what was the point? It was totally pointless.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's just one more paragraph.
Okay.
The events formed the basis for the 1994 film Heavenly Creatures, in which Melanie Lynskey portrayed a teenage Pauline Parker and Kate Winslet the teenage Juliet Holm. At the time of the film's release, it was not generally known that mystery author Anne Perry was the grown-up Juliet Holm, whose identity was made public some months after the film's release. Although some presumed Holm and Parker's relationship to be sexual, Perry stated in 2006 that while the relationship was obsessive, the two were never lesbians. Yeah, I'm not judging, but the fact that you like shanked the bitch, like that's kind of a big deal.
Like, okay, and obviously, no one should make generalizations. But like, I'm a lesbian, and that seems like some gay shit. Like,
right?
I'm sorry, you don't bludgeon someone's mother to death. You know, like, you don't bludgeon someone's mother for someone that you aren't like infatuated with. You know what I mean? I mean, like, well, obviously normal people don't do it at all, but still, like,
I bet it was like one of them had lesbian tendencies and had an obsession with the other one, but they knew that they were just friends, but the other one liked the attention, and so like
that could be.
That's what happened.
That certainly could be. It just, yeah, it definitely seems like, I mean, I've had friends and like close friendships, but like, and like, yeah, it would be sad if they had to move away if I, you know, when I was young and everything, but like, never would I have felt impassioned to the level of wanting to commit murder so I can keep my friend near me. Like that. And I mean, granted, maybe I'm trying to lend logic to the situation where there isn't a lot of logic, because you could make the argument that, you know, they just weren't normal people and they were like, you know, they were sick somehow and did that. But like a normal person wouldn't do that without some serious emotions and motives behind it. I don't know.
Right.
That was a long tirade. I'm sorry.
When you're, you know, when you're 15 and you think you know everything, but really you're just blinded by emotions and angst and all that.
You're just like, stuff, so. You're basically a hormone zombie. Like your body is just like a conduit.
Right.
For your hormones. Like your brain and like who you are does not come into play hardly at all.
You're not even like a complete person yet, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, God, my wife works with adolescents. I don't know how she does it.
I work with adolescents.
Well, I guess that's true.
But mine are like, at least mine's like after school. Like people come because they want to be there.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, other than like the kids that get like, it's like jail time basically. Like when kids get in trouble here in Tennessee, like they have to do community service, and a lot of them come to the library, and so I have to deal with these like punk ass kids that just do the shit, and like they don't want to be there, but I'm like, you can't get your hours unless I sign it for you, and I'm not going to sign it unless you do what I tell you. So,
yeah,
you know, those kids, you know, they're a handful, but no, mostly like my kids that come for like my Harry Potter events or my teen book stuff. Like I'm teaching some teens right now how to review books, and it's pretty sweet.
Cool.
And they're excited about it.
That's
so
awesome.
Like, yay, read for me.
Read. I mean, I guess that's true. I shouldn't like, generalize, because some kids are great. Like my wife has good stories as well as the horror stories. And there are legitimately kids at like 11 years old that think globally and like want to help heal the world. You know what I mean? So there definitely are good kids out there. So I shouldn't.
And then there's those little pieces of shit that ruin it for the rest of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually joined the there's a child-free my favorite murder Facebook page, and it's not just for people that like never want to have kids, but people like me who it's like, I can't settle down yet.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have kids yet, and I'm doing that, I guess. But it's just so funny because people have these stories, and like the other day someone had posted like things that parents post on Facebook about their kids that they really shouldn't. And she's like, one person just posted that their kid had taken a huge shit, and then they posted a picture of their kid on the toilet, and then they posted a picture of their poop in the toilet.
Oh my God. That's disgusting.
It's so funny because I actually just took a picture today of one of my friends, actually, that lives in Michigan. You don't know them though. Who just like, I mean, they didn't post a picture, but they posted a status that said, "Me too, child. Honey, I'm pooping. I don't want to sword fight with you while I'm pooping. My life, ladies and gentlemen." And I'm like, why do you have to post that? TMI.
That's a good point. Why are you telling us? This is not public information.
But like, people need to learn virtual boundaries, And like, what if the internet was like it is now when we were kids, and our parents posted that about us, and like our poo is on the internet forever.
Oh my God, that's terrible to think about.
Right?
Oh my God, that is terrible, because stuff on the internet never goes away. Like, our parents, obviously wouldn't have to worry about their like childhood bullshit being posted online. Oh God.
Exactly. And like, no one needs to, like, why do you think everyone needs to, like, some of the things that people post on their statuses, I'm just like, what? Yeah, like, are you lonely? Are you just looking for someone to talk to? Because there are groups for that. And it's not Facebook.
I feel you.
There needs to be like an oversharing Facebook group, for those people that just
want to be open about absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Find your tribe, guys.
These people are posting about their kids' shit, and I'm over here posting about my snails. Like,
yeah, and I'm always posting about my dogs or like the woods. Like, I was looking through my pictures the other day, like the ones that I have on Facebook, and it's just like dog, cat, woods, sand, dune, cat. Like, that's all I do. Like, I think she likes nature and her pets. That's
right. That sounds like mine. Because I go on hikes all the time. Right. I try to go every week, but I haven't been as consistent. Well, it's been raining every single time I'm off.
Oh, that sucks.
Several weeks, which last summer it like didn't rain at all, like ever. It was like a really big dry spell, but this year it's just been raining. And so like, yeah, but I have my snails, which yesterday I posted a picture of my snails and I'm like, they're all like bunched up. Like, this is cute. Okay. This is way more interesting than someone's kid pooping. But like, I had all my snails were like huddled in this little bundle and I'm like, they're sharing a group hug. It's so sweet.
It actually was really cute. It was like, aw, togetherness.
Yeah, usually it's just like, one's on top of one or something. Like they're never bunched up like that, or they're all sharing a big rock or something. Or my Marimo balls. But anyway, you should totally join that group. I'll invite you because it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
To see what people, because I mean, since you don't have any kids yet, it's
no,
obviously. Our Facebook lives are a little different than other people's.
Yeah, I think they are, because like most of the time now when I go on Facebook, I'm not like on like the news feed. I'm on one of my groups, or it's kind of a way to reclaim Facebook, because like Facebook has become just like political, angry, venomous bullshit. Like, this person's angry about that, and this person's angry about that, and also just like, okay, I shouldn't make this like a rant about that kind of thing. Okay.
Do it.
All right. I'm going to go there. All right.
I talked about my hijack divination.
Yeah, but that was at least like related to the paranormal. I'm just talking about how people are jerks. Like, I don't know. It's always just like a white person, like, and I'm white, I'm super white, but like, it's always a fellow white person who's like, look, like, not all white people are racist. It's like, but the fact that you say that publicly out of nowhere, indicates that you feel offended by the accusation. And why would you know what I mean? Like, people, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of like, Facebook has become very divided, at least in my world. And I'm sure it's similar for you because we grew up in similar situations. But like,
we also have a lot of the same friends.
That too. I mean, we grew up in a really conservative area in a pretty conservative state. And so there's like two types of people on my newsfeed. If I go there, there's just like people who are like, gosh, I'm really sad because the world sucks right now. And that's typically me. Like, there's all this stuff happening and I want to be able to make it better. And then there's people on the other side, like, those people don't deserve to feel that way. Things are fine. And it's like, well, things are fine for you. We know that. Like, everyone knows that.
The problem.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like being a part of groups are almost a way to, like, reclaim Facebook as, like, into what it used to be, which is just kind of like talking about stuff you like.
Right.
And, so, yeah, you can, like, go into these little, like, Facebook pockets now and kind of, like, talk about things.
Yeah. My group for single librarians is pretty awesome and kicking. And it's like,
and kicking.
It is, because like a lot of people won't even post on like the main library groups, because like sometimes people will be like, librarians can be awesome and hilarious, but they can also be like super mean because they're all like analytical and like they take things way too seriously sometimes. And so like it's, you have those groups where it's like you post once, like my gluten-free group, like, oh my God, you post once and then people bite your head off or something like unrelated. Seriously? And like, yeah, did I not tell you about that?
No.
Okay. So for example, I just found out that I have celiac disease, and which is like probably one of the worst things that ever happened to me because I really like bread and pasta and beer, and I can't have those things anymore. And so it's been a big life change for me, and I have not been dealing with it well. And so I joined some gluten-free groups on Facebook. And one of them, it's like the main, like, I mean, it's just like gluten-free or something like that. And I had posted something about like borderline celiacs, which like it's celiacs. It's just I have different reactions than some other people do. And so I had put borderline because that's the term that my doctor used. And people like flipped their shit. Like, what was it? Oh, so one of the indications of it is that like my glands get swollen. And like like under my arms and like in my neck and stuff. And it's really uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
And so I was asking other people like, okay, when those things get inflamed, and it could just be because my food touched something that had gluten in it.
Wow.
Or like it was made in a nonstick pan that still had gluten left over from the last thing it made, you know?
Wow.
So like it's very, very sensitive. So I can look at gluten wrong and then I'm just like a bubble. But so I had asked anybody like, do you have any like oils or something that can help with, you know, inflaming? Like, what am I saying? But like that helps with it. And because I've tried several and sometimes it just doesn't work. And so instead of answering my question, like there were a couple people that were just like, borderline? What's borderline? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, stupid. Is that my question? And then someone else was like, people need to be more responsible with their disease. Either you have it or you don't.
What?
And I'm like, still doesn't answer my question. No. And so I'm like, this is the first time I posted here, and I really wish people weren't being rude. And then I don't know if it was one of the admins or whatever, but like that's what I said. Like people were like basically like attacking me. And I mean, there were some people that were answering and they're like, yeah, that's what my doctor said, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm just using the terminology my doctor used. Like, I don't think it's very nice to tell someone they're being irresponsible about something they just discovered they have. Like, I'm still learning about it. And that's why I'm here asking you questions.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it was one of the admins or something, but they were like, so people are from like all over the world, so they might not understand what you're saying, but also like, you need to be a little more patient with people's responses.
What?
I'm like, how am I supposed to be patient with someone saying I'm irresponsible about a disease I just found out I had that I'm already struggling with, and now they're making it even harder by being assholes? Like,
what the hell?
Yeah,
that's so
so
stupid.
I was like, did you just victim shame me? Because I'm pretty sure you just did.
So the admin's probably like one of those like diehard, like you either have it or you don't. People like some people I feel like draw a sense of identity from having a disease. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm not like well, you were there when I found out, because it was when I was home, and I was just like, oh, my life is over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Because I had a feeling that was what was wrong, but I didn't want to admit it because it meant that, you know, I'd have to give up my vanilla porters.
Right.
So, you know, but yeah, I hate that because there are some groups where it's like, you get to the point where it's like, I don't even want to post because you're afraid of posting. And then it's like, why am I even a part of this group? It's not helping.
Yeah, I feel that. So, like every once in a while, one of the witchy groups I'm on gets sort of hostile as well.
Like that crazy one?
Yes. Like that crazy woman. Like I don't even remember what I had like asked a question about like
the dark moon.
Other people do new moon rituals just like on a dark moon, you know, because I missed the new moon because I'm really bad at following a calendar. And this girl, like,
and then there's me who has like 6.
Yeah, right. Like this girl freaked out. Like I don't even remember what she was saying. Like I sent
it was nonsense.
It was nonsense. It was like, you will all see the wrath of like that. Like she was freaking out, and she was like, she had said something to me directly, and I was like, do I need to like do a cord cutting spell with this?
Right.
Or, like I ended up going up because she was clearly mad. I don't know why. I ended up like doing a protection spell just in case she had tried to like hex me or something. But yeah, people get weird. And I mean, I guess I should expect some of that from like an online group of, you know, self-proclaimed witches.
Right.
But the internet is crazy.
It's crazy. And I hate that, like, feeling like you can't post anything anywhere just because of the crazy people.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm too sensitive for this.
Yeah. Or like even like
the part I'm feeling.
Yeah, I feel that. Because even like, God, I'm like on regular Facebook, I feel like, oh God, and I don't even want to like say this because I'm going to sound so much like the crazy conservatives who are like, the world's too politically incorrect. But like, sometimes I feel like there are moments when it's like people are way too sensitive about, like, for example, and I'm not talking about you like being sensitive, because like I'm sensitive to like people being jerks too. I'm talking about like if you say something that's meant to be positive and they make it negative, like after, gosh, it's hard to keep track of all of the crazy shootings and attacks that happen in our world today. I think it was after the Pulse nightclub shooting that the gesture of wearing a safety pin became popular. Was it that?
No, it was after the election.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It was after the election.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ash got home.
Welcome home, Ash.
Thanks.
And so there were a lot of people who were justifiably scared and hurting after the election. And I thought that the safety pin thing was a nice gesture, especially, you know, as a member of a demographic that does experience discrimination. I thought that the sentiment of like doing something subtle to show that you were a safe ally was really sweet.
Right.
And
well,
so
it was. I mean, there's nothing,
right?
There is nothing wrong with that.
Right. I thought that was great. And like, I had posted something about how I appreciated that and how I was going to participate in it because like it's something that I would benefit from, like seeing someone and knowing that they were a safe ally for me was like really, it was a really nice thought. And so I was like, yeah, I really like this and I'm going to participate in it. And like people, not like a ton of people, but it was mostly one person, like flipped out at me and was like, that's lazy allyship. You can't just like wear a safety pin and fix all the problems in the world. Like this is like lazy, fake, blah, blah, blah. Like just like it was the longest comment too. It was like 5 paragraphs. And
I apparently missed that.
Oh my God. It's like, I was just trying to say that like in the wake of all of the sadness, it's nice that someone's trying to be nice. And they freaked out on me and say, you know, basically saying that I was ignorant. And I'm like, really? Yeah. So it's like, I just feel like in that respect, people, like some people are way too, maybe it's not that they're sensitive. They're just so quick to argue. Like,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like,
people are
here we are, we're
being right.
Yeah, well, here we're zeroing in on one aspect of this issue, and all of a sudden you want to make it about all the other aspects of the issue, just so you have something to complain about. Like, shut up! It is this simple.
Yeah, like
you know, like go be a hater somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like I'm not trying to dumb down. Because like obviously the larger issue is complicated, but like the issue of whether or not it's nice that people are trying to be nice. That's simple. You know?
It doesn't have to be black and white. Like either you're a hater and you're just like an asshole to one group of people or many groups of people, or you're a complete, you know, like it's not being an asshole or not being an asshole. It's baby steps. Like it's not black and white. That's the thing. There are gray areas and people don't understand the concept of gray areas.
No, they really don't.
They understand the concept of arguing with people about every damn thing that crosses their path.
it's gotten so toxic. Like I struggle with well, I mean, obviously Senna knows this, but like I struggle with mental illness and I like a few diagnoses, but depression is one of the harder ones to cope with. And like my depression's been really bad the past couple weeks. And I feel like it's in part because there's just so much negativity in the world right now. Like,
oh yeah.
I feel like I'm susceptible to that, and I've been feeling it so hard. Like I've been falling asleep on the couch. I usually can't nap, and I'm typically someone who struggles with insomnia, and so like the fact that I am sleeping more is really weird for me. But anyway, the point is, I feel like there's so much negativity on social media and so much negativity on the media.
Right.
That, like I don't know. Like I feel guilty even though saying that I tune out sometimes because I know that some people don't have the luxury of tuning out, but like it's like physically harming me. It's that negative. Are you hearing the cat attacking Ashley?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I wish.
Ow! he is such a jerk. He like doesn't understand that he has claws and teeth, and he'll like grab onto your arm.
Oh.
He's just like, let's play. But it hurts, damn it. Why? Seriously, I just tried to pet you and now you're biting me. Ow.
Just like America.
Oh, Bakes, let me go. Just like America. Yeah.
No, I
I'm
wish
just
that
trying to be nice and you're biting me. Ow! Stop it.
I wish that like our country could. It's just like our country reminds me so much of my horrible abusive marriage. Like so much of it where it's just like it won't, like, it sucks all the happiness out of you. If you find joy in one little thing, then somebody has to tear you down. And it's like, no matter what you do, you're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to feel safe. You're not allowed to tune it out. Like, you can't even get away with it. Like, get away from it is what I'm trying to say. Like, you feel trapped.
Yeah.
And you feel like
everything you do is wrong.
Yes. You feel like, and somehow you feel like something's wrong with you. You start feeling like you're crazy. Like it's seriously like America is one big horrible relationship.
Wow, it really
honestly.
is.
I mean, this is, and I hate it because it's like, this is how I felt in my marriage, but like on a more national level, which is kind of insane. And it's like, I'm looking at these people and I'm like, I feel so bad for you because I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
But like, these people don't understand what they're doing and they don't care. They just don't care. And that's, and it's like, but luckily for me, I was able to go in hiding and get a divorce. Whereas being a part of this country, all we can do is move to Canada and hope that Justin Trudeau marries me. So he's real nice to look at.
he's a pretty good looking dude. He's a pretty man.
But he
seems swell.
He's definitely, in comparison, yes.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, like, we'll trade Canada, but like, I wouldn't want to do that to Canada.
Right? I was telling my single librarians, I was like, I know some of you are from Canada, and I just want to know what your dating sites are like. Because I hear it's quicker to marry in.
Oh, God.
But anyway. Well, I am probably going to go eat something.
Yeah, me too. I'm starving. I'm so hungry.
But man, we had so many stories. I feel like we had covered a lot of ground today. We have.
Geez. And also, I feel like there was way less lag without the video.
Yes, definitely. I think I like that. And I also like our new name.
Yeah, me too. Super fun. Especially because I feel like maybe it resonated so much with me because it reminded me of this week. Like, don't forget the sage, Carrie. Right. Like, protect yourself, damn it.
Or when we were like preparing for our big adventure. We keep talking about this adventure, but one day we'll tell you what I don't remember if we actually...
I think we did. I think we did talk about it, like, briefly though. We just kind of like touched base on it. Not that there's that much more to tell.
Yeah, there really isn't much.
Oh, God.
We apparently were a lot braver in our youth, so.
Yeah.
There's that.
Which is ironic because I experience more now in my adulthood, and had I experienced the stuff in my youth that I experience now, I would have been freaked out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's ironic. That like now I'm experiencing things more and I'm not looking for it as hard, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
I would prefer it if I was looking for it than it showing up above my bed in the middle of the night.
Right. But, yeah, exactly. I think that's what I'm trying to articulate, but I'm having a really hard time. How much only a little, or maybe a lot. Okay, then that makes sense.
What was the question?
Yeah, we're like how much I'm inebriated. She wanted me to try to quantify it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was fun.
It was fun.
Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Speaking of friends. I don't know if you remember that episode, but
Wait, which episode? Say it again.
with Chandler and when Rachel, when he like went on a date with Rachel's boss.
Oh,
and he kept saying, "This was fun. Let's do it again sometime." And then
and he's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a funny episode.
But anyway, okay. Well,
okay.
You have a lovely night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
Theoretical view.